Hey everybody, this is Teddy with my first market update and the first recap, and also I'm going to have some setups for you. I just want to thank Leaders Investment Club for letting me join, especially Austin. Really appreciate it. It seems like a really cool organization, and I'm really glad I get to be a part of it. So to start off, just want to say what my kind of strategy is. It's not one specific strategy, not one setup, but I kind of like to follow just pure price action and do what the market tells me to do. So I kind of follow the strategies like Jesse Livermore, Paul Tudor Jones, kind of these swing traders, follow the leaders, buy trending stocks, that sort of thing. So I'm usually going to go over the general market direction and then go into a few setups that I think are going to be profitable. And then next week we'll see how those setups performed, and we'll have some setups for the following week as well. So to start off, just to monitor the overall market, the S&P has been performing pretty weirdly recently. It's very volatile. This past week, we had a big down day on Thursday, dropped about 1.5%, but we rebounded nicely on Friday. And it's been a hard market to trade in the past few weeks. You can see this big consolidation area. We did happen to break above this kind of bullish flag pattern, which I do like, and we rallied for about 3 days afterward. But this doji right here may have signaled for some traders to take off some risk and, stop getting so super long, even though that was a new high for the market. And ever since then, we've pulled back with this, a rally today. So that's good. But overall, I mean, there's not a clear direction for the S&P. But there are definitely some really profitable setups that are in individual stocks. So even though the whole market doesn't have a certain clear direction, there are individual stocks that do have a defined trend with some really nice entry points, which we'll go over. And then to go over the NASDAQ, this chart loads. Just one moment. Has a little bit more of a, clear setup where you had this 4,484 level breached. You had a breakout on this day right here. That was obviously very bullish. NASDAQ almost hitting the all-time highs. And now we broke out. We had some nice updates. And now we've pulled back to retest that level. And we went below it actually on Thursday, but we regained that level right there. So that actually could provide some short-term momentum. And it's still below the 10 and 21-day moving averages, which are indicators that I like to use, mostly with a few exceptions. I like to trade stocks that are rising above their 21 or their 10, or falling below their 21 and below their 10 in a definite trend. You have this kind of short-term trend line, so that could be kind of a risk tool that you could use to see whether you should get out or to stay long. So far, I mean, the market, not a definite direction. The trend is still up. So I think we should keep looking for longs, and I've mostly found long setups, but I also did find one short setup. And also I forgot with the SPX chart, I wanted to mention this. If you go on the 1 week chart, this is pretty much the dominant trend, and it shows the path of least resistance. As you can see, the 21-day has held almost every single time the past year, and we haven't even touched the 21-day. So that implies after this big rally we've had in the past month or so with a really strong August that we could retest that 21-day, and that'll be a key moment for bulls to pretty much protect that 21. And if we break below it and close below it, then that could be a signal to get more bearish on the market. Not short the market. No one wants to be shorting this. No smart trader would do that, but it would just be a time to adjust your risk. So now to go on to the individual setups that I found. BRCD, trading at $10.80. Just wait for this chart to load. So here is the daily chart, and this looks like a very strong stock. As you can see, it had a big vicious decline from $11 to $8, and ever since then it's been in a pretty nice uptrend with higher highs and higher lows. And the past month or so, it's been forming this consolidation. And on Thursday, and this is the main reason why I like this stock, is after this consolidation period where you had really low volume and strong accumulation on the up days, you had an up day of 2% right here on that day when the market was down, had one of the worst days in 6 months. So that's great relative strength. And then it followed through today where it was up along with the market and actually underperformed the market today. We may see some sideways action from here. But overall, the path of least resistance is probably up. It's above the 10, it's above the 21. Strong volume up days. And I think it could, near term, test its previous resistance around $11. Next, we have Twitter, and I think this is a promising setup. It had a nice rally from 31 to 54 the past 4 or 5 months, and now it's consolidating, sitting around, this sort of 53, 54 level. And I'm thinking that if we can breach maybe 53 and 2/4, then there could be room for more upside. And it's still holding above the 10, it's above the 21. So the trend is definitely up. And if we go on a 1-hour chart, you can see that see it in a nicer picture, this consolidation zone. So I think if we break above this line, 53 1/4 actually, that we could see some momentum to the upside. Next is ISIS. And yeah, to address the elephant in the room, it's nothing to do with the evil group that's wreaking terror all across the Middle East. Nothing to do with it. It is a pharmaceutical company, and that's all you need to know, and all you need to know is the price action. So, no affiliation. I hate ISIS. I may like this stock. And as you can see, it's held the 21-day pretty nicely on the past 3 occasions. So that's bullish. And right now it's doing the same exact thing where it's held the 21-day. I wouldn't want to buy right here at the 21-day. I'd want to wait for some momentum coming off of that 21. So it's actually entered a nice short-term consolidation zone. As you can see, put it on the 1-hour chart. And this is 21-day on the daily would be about right here. So I'm thinking if we can gain some strength and break through about 41 and 2/4 maybe, 41.50, that could signal more upside ahead. And it will continue the uptrend after this really bad decline. Next, we have RCPT, Receptos. Not really sure what they do, but what I do know is that the stock has been being heavily accumulated by institutions. Large volume on up days. It's gone from $50 all the way to 63 in a matter of a couple weeks back here. And recently it's just been consolidating its gains. Big volume down here, and during the consolidation period it's had pretty low volume. And today it actually was up 3.5%. So strong stock, people are buying, they're accumulating. I could think there could be probably another measured move, probably to 70, and that's a random price target because it's at pretty much all-time highs right now. I just check it. Yeah, it's at all-time highs on the weekly. So, I mean, if you just look at the previous momentum, it could go, I don't really know where it could go. It could go to 100 or 200, or it could fall back to 44. My best guess would be that the stock is going to head higher from here, and as long as it stays above the 10, I think it's a good play. Next, we have HBI. HBI, this is a pretty cool stock. Hanes Brands, nice uptrend. I mean, this is higher highs and higher lows. This is textbook. It's held the 21 right here at 105, and now it's trading around 108 in this nice consolidation zone, kind of bullish flag pattern. And these are the patterns that I really like. I mean, we just listen to the greats like Jesse Livermore. He really stresses the fact that stocks go in trends, and you should buy out of consolidation zones. Or if you listen to Dan Zanger or William O'Neill, these are the patterns. And people can make money on tons of different setups, whether you're a macro trader, whether you buy reversals, what do you do, whatever. You can make money, but I think the path of least resistance for uptrending stocks is up. So I think that's one of the best places to make money, along with certain risk parameters where you're going to take, you're going to cut your losses and you're going to take your profits and let them run. So this stock's been consolidating recently from 108 down to 104 after it went from 97 to 110. So, Right now, I think the stock looks good. This big up day on volume, that's a lot of volume on a down day. That was kind of concerning, but the stock acted pretty nicely since then, so I don't think we should be that concerned. But compared to the other setups, I think this would be a higher risk play. And as you can see, it didn't really close at the highs on Friday, and you could be concerned about that. But then if you go to the hourly chart, the stock did break out, and now it's actually pulled back to that previous resistance, and now that previous resistance is support. So if the market is up pre-market, then I feel like this stock could really go. Next is another long setup, Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren Corp, great corporation. I love it. Love their clothes, love everything about them. This stock is kind of an exception to my normal trading setups, but I just like to put this out there just because I think it's a cool setup and it could actually be profitable. So what you had is pretty much the stock broke out in August, and ever since then it's gone from 165 to 176, and it's pulled back recently right into this previous resistance zone. So I mean, the price action says it all. If you believe in the Ralph Lauren story, this would be a nice place to get long, especially after these nice, doji slash hammers right here. And this is the equivalent of basically a green bar with that wick. So it'd be a nice place, I think, to accumulate. It's below the 10, it's below the 21, but in the end, I mean, if you're the type of trader likes to play these large swings, this could be a stock for you. And then also we have JCPenney. JCPenney is kind of the same as Ralph Lauren. First of all, just got to note, stock got killed. This is a colossal decline from 42 down to $5? And I mean, the trend is definitely down long term. Short term, intermediate, it's up. And we broke out right here and we rallied from $9.78 all the way to about over $11, 11 and change. So that's like over 20%. That's a pretty nice rise, 10-15%. And now the stock has dropped just like Ralph Lauren recently, but it's kind of hesitated at that previous resistance zone, now turned support. So if you think that, JCPenney isn't going to continue to get hammered long term, this would be a nice place to maybe ride a swing high back to the highs around 11.26, 11.50 maybe, if you want to make a new high. And just overall, though, I want to say, I know these are a bunch of long setups, and I actually have one short setup coming up next. And I'm just saying, even though the overall market is in an uptrend and it's kind of pulled back recently, there are going to be short setups. There are going to be individual stocks that are going to be trending down. So I'm not just looking for longs if the overall market is up. I'm going to be looking for overall trends in certain individual stocks. That's one of the main things that I'm about. So the S&P, I mean, yes, because the trend is up, you're going to have more uptrends than downtrends, but you're still going to have downtrends. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say if I try to say it simply. So the last stock, and this is the short setup for you short sellers, is TOUR. And I especially like this stock, and I'll tell you why. Once this chart loads. All right. Sorry about that. Let me just reload this. All right, now it should work. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So, TOUR, Tunio. This is a Chinese travel company. So it's actually kind of linked to the Chinese market. I love this stock. I mean, it had an IPO back in May, and it went from $9 in a few months to $25. So this is your classic blue chip conservative. No, not really. This is just a Momo stock. And as you can see right here, this was kind of the first level that I was looking at back in July, and it broke out on this day. Stock, I mean, right there, broke out. That was the signal for the bulls to get more bullish, and it rode from $20 all the way to a high of 25. held the 21-day sort of, riding above the 10, holding the 10 right here, hit the 21-day, and then bounced, but then broke below it right here. That was your signal right there to kind of, if you're long, sell. If you want to be a bear fundamentally, this may be your place to enter. And ever since then, the stock has been trending down from $21 to 17. So while it's still not, a long, prolonged downtrend like you were shorting rallies in JCPenney the past 2 years, it's still below the 10. It rallied right into the 21 right here at 18, and it just got rejected right there. And, this would be your place kind of below the 21, and then below that, short-term trend line. That would be your place, to go short. And so far, that signal has been proven to be effective. Short-term, though, why I think this is a good short is you're having prolonged selling after a big run-up, downtrend, short-term at least, and you have a nice, consolidation zone, pretty much like a bear flag, a typical bear flag. And it broke the recent upper trend line of that bear flag, and this was on a day, it was down 5%, and the relative strength, but this is the opposite, this is relative weakness, the stock was down 5%, the U.S. markets were up a lot, not as much as they were down the previous day, but this stock was down 5% on that. And if you don't say, well, it's a Chinese stock, compare it to, the FXI or the Chinese index, the FXI was up as well. So this stock has really bad relative weakness. I mean, really, really good relative weakness if you're a short seller. So while it may, consolidate after a down 5% move, I feel like short term it could retest, the lows made by the short term downtrend at 1661, and if it breaks that, it could go all the way towards 14 and change. So I wish I could. I have a lot of schoolwork, so I can't really trade actively. I'm just giving you setups and monitoring the market with not really paper money, just to practice so when I can actually trade, because I have a lot of schoolwork and I have really rigorous classes, so I wish I could trade. It's killing me that I can't trade, but this is how I'm engaging the market. But if I were trading, I would be buying puts right now on this stock. This looks like a really promising setup to the downside. And then I'd probably be doing a couple longs, maybe in Twitter, or if I'm feeling a little risky, some Ralph Lauren. I don't really know. But that's overall the first market highlight, first market video that I made. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to a bunch of other videos. So thanks. Have a good night.